such an asshole.
All right, we have somebody who should have read Enjoy the Decline and does not realize how far gone education is in the United States. I think it's been pretty apparent where education has been since I've been going to school. I've made very clear that education is not about educating children. It's about, first and foremost, providing free babysitting for parents who don't want to take care of their kids, K through 12. And then college is, well, you go K through college. All of it is an employment scheme to make our talentless, most worthless, most idiotic, most parasitic people, they give them jobs in the form of teachers and professors. And a very close third is to indoctrinate young people into being leftists. That's it. So if you view it for what it is, it'll make sense. And you'll realize that until the money goes away, until there's a collapse, there's a lot of institutions in the United States and the West in general that are not going to improve themselves until there's a collapse, because there's just too much money to be made. People are too ingrained. They're too established in the system. So until there's nothing to fight over anymore, until there's like, oh crap, we got to grow our own food again. How do we make those things that the Chinese used to make us for us all? But then we had the world's reserve currency. We just paid them to do it at slave labor wage. How do we make cars again? How do I install a toilet? Well, if we'd like to poop and not have it be in our own home, like San Francisco, if we'd like to not become San Francisco, we got to learn real skills and trades. We have to learn to budget our finances until it's forced upon you for your own survival. Education, it's not education. It's not not until your life depends on it will we start educating people in things that matter. In the meantime, it is because most of you, certainly Republicans as well, don't want to raise your kids. You outsource them to babysitting. Your careers are more important. And then you gave them to the state. The state's like, look at all these young skulls full of mush. And we're going to take these other slightly less young skulls of mush called education majors. We're going to make them teachers. And we're going to brainwash the skulls of mush to vote for the Marxists. Yay, then we're in power forever. Where's the food? So I think I kind of answered it without even... An idealistic man writes, hi, Cappy, repeat customer back from one. I'm a product of public education, but I believe my experience is totally different than today's public schools. If we got out of line, we literally got our butts kicked. If my father found out we acted up in school, well, your father, there. Yes, you are from a different era. Your father was around and he disciplined you? The result, we sat at our desks and learned pre-calc, civics, physics, inorganic, organic chemistry, Western civilization, some Latin by teacher. Oh, Latin, how old are you? By teachers who knew their jobs and didn't take any crap. We actually learned how to be productive citizens, how to conduct ourselves in self-discipline. You have got to be older than me. You've got to be older than me, because even I didn't learn that crap 40 years ago. I don't see this happening today. It hasn't been happening in 40 years. I subscribe to the R Teacher subreddit, and I have never seen such a group of entitled, whiny, self-absorbed Marxist pieces of garbage. What did I just say? Did I not just say... You tuned in before, right? You know the show, right? I have always said teachers are lazy adult children who never wanted to leave school. They never worked in the real world, and bar an exceptional few percentage of them, most of them just don't want to work a real job. That's why they became teachers. And when you have worthless people, they go and try and find ideologies and religions and philosophies, for lack of a better word, that give them value in life but don't require work. Oh my God, does socialism and feminism, environmentalism, all the other general variants of Marxism fit that description? It does. Okay. It's what was it? It's like Achilles' heroes after they get attacked by their own guys. And Bajuko comes up and he's like tucking in his pants. He's like, what happened? Until he somehow says, what happened? Where the hell have you been? He's like, I had to go. We all have to go. It's like, where the hell have you been? I mean, didn't you see the type of people that become teachers nowadays? people that were teachers and maybe your kids, like if you're old enough to be like my dad's age, like, didn't you see the teachers that taught us, my generation? This is who's teaching our kids rather than learning trig, pre-calc, etc. Kids learn how America sucks, that they are probably non-binary, and that white men like me suck and are responsible for their crappy circumstances. Yes. Okay. Maybe I've just been in it too damn long. Does my description of what education, don't think of the word education. Okay. Does my babysitting / jobs program / indoctrination program, does that describe it better? And when you realize that's what it is, that's what it is. There is no education. This is why like 2/3 of the kids that graduate from college, they can't find a job that they couldn't have gotten fresh out of high school. And which is why everyone has to go back to school, despite the education system having them at least 13 years, if not 17, sometimes even more. Like, what would you say if someone says, hey, give me your kid for 13 years, I'll give him back to you? Wouldn't you hope there was some kind of progress? Wouldn't you hope the kid would be like, 13 years, that kid should be an engineer. Kid should be a pilot. You're operating from the false premise that what they called it, education, is what they do. It's like affirmative action. Affirmative action is not action that is in the affirmative or positive. It is sexism against men or racism against whites. That's what that is. It's discrimination. It's bigotry. All that, same thing with education. They do not get an education there. And one of the main reasons I've lost all faith in America is because people on the right are like supporting this. Why? Because they don't want to raise their kids. If you love your kids, you would not let them go to the public schools. You would homeschool them. But you don't love your kids more. You might love your kids, but certainly not more than that SUV. Certainly not more than that McMansion. And certainly not more than your career. Because if you actually cared about your children, you would all yank them out of the public schools. You wouldn't send them to private schools. They're just as bad. I mean, education major is an education major. A Marxist piece of crap, right? So you would see a kid down and say, hey, this thing called the internet, and we can go through K through 12 education, and I'll depend on the kid's age. But you could have the kid have a high school equivalent education, get a high school diploma by the 8th grade, certainly by today's standards. Then that kid can be off to like a trade school, a tech school, or something like that. Get a degree in engineering by the age they're 18. It's not like Germany where you're forced to send the kids to the indoctrination camp. You can pull your kids out. You could school them at home. You could give them an education so by the time they're 18, they're not like your average graduate in high school now who can't support themselves and won't be able to support themselves for another 12 years. You could give your kid, you're like, oh, well, we lose money. We lose our SUV. Yes, you would. In the short run, there would be sacrifice. Imagine that. You have to sacrifice for your children. Not you. I'm talking the Republican people who just care so much about the children. Right? But you'd save money on the back end because your kids wouldn't be parasitic pieces of crap. They'd be independent. They'd have jobs. You would also spare them of the mental pain they're going to suffer mental damage. You send a kid to public schools now, they will suffer mental damage or mental pain. With the warped, effed up crap that's going on there, it is a prison, an absolute prison. But you're old enough, you don't have kids, your kids are out there. Not to mention use they, them, or whatever it is. When I went to school, we just had chicks and dudes, and somehow we did all right. Yeah. Based on this and other observations, I've come to the conclusion that the public education system is irredeemable. I don't see any hope for things to improve in the public education. I might be overstating. This is nothing more than a jobs program. Who that? That be Aaron Clary. Really? Is a jobs program for these useless pieces of garbage who can't work a big boy job. Hence, they have a chip on their shoulder, are super angry, defensive, and have this imposter syndrome, reactive BS. Anytime someone says, you get summers off, that must be nice, they absolutely lose it. Yes, I cannot say that. I cannot emphasize it. It's one thing just to be inferior, right? Like maybe you're mentally impaired, you actually physically, biologically, you just brain damage or something like that. It's another thing to just be lazy. Like, yeah, I'm just collecting my welfare check but teachers are like the journalists and political science majors. They are arrogant and hypocritical on top of it. They can't just be parasites. They also need their egos fed. So they have this make work government program jobs. Oh, I'm saving lives, making a difference, helping the children. When at the core, they are lazy and very closely followed up by arrogant. So it's not good enough for them that we all pay extra taxes for them to be parasites. They got to have a make work government jobs program where they act like they're doing something for society. Like pretty much all nonprofits and social workers, like all of them. You say, oh, that's a broad brush. Tell me one thing they've solved. Name one thing they've solved. And just like nonprofits, it's not to help the poor or the kids or minorities or anything like that. It's largely for rich white women from the suburbs to avoid a job but feel good about themselves and do something with their completely useless liberal arts degree. Oh, coincidentally, harming children and minorities and the disadvantaged and the poor along the way. But Tina and Edina got to feel real good with to use her whatever, her journalism degree, writing some kind of grant to get government money, a grant proposal. It's important that Tina feels good about herself, okay? You poor black people just be more poor now. She doesn't want to work an accounting job. Tina don't work no accounting job. I be Tina. Yes. Yes. Teachers are not only dumb and lazy, they're also egomaniacs. And if you point out to these worthless vermin just what a joke of a profession they work in, what jokes they are, you might as well have, I don't know, ran off with their children or something. That's all they got in life, is this lie that they're doing something good for society. Meanwhile, education has gone down the toilet. No kids can find jobs. It's gotten to the point, you need more proof? We need a student loan bailout. What? We spent 1.5 trillion on you kids, on your education. You can't do anything with it. How worthless was that education? We get the privilege of paying these unhappy, miserable, unfireable teachers who can't do a real job to teach their kids that we taxpaying parents are the problem. It really irritates me. Until parents love their children more than their things and more than their careers, you will have the education system exist. It will not go. It is irredeemable. It was never redeemable that much in the first place. But nothing will happen to education until you parents start pulling your kids out of public schools and teaching them at home. Okay? Until you love your children, you will pay overinflated property taxes for worthless educations. That's it. And this is why I don't even bother talking to parents. This is why I go directly for the younger, not kids, but late teens, early 20-somethings, because they are getting so screwed. The parents have screwed them over. The teachers have screwed them over. They both lie to them. Nobody loves these kids. I don't love them. They pay me. Let's be honest. Here's what you need to know, kid. Yeah, you went K through 12. Why do they teach us financial planning in high school? One, your teachers are effing morons and they don't know it themselves. Two, if they taught you financial planning, you wouldn't be a Democrat. You're like, well, these are the tax rates. This is how it works. Well, wait a minute. Everything else he told us was a lie. And so this is why the channel kind of exists. One of the reasons. Hey, kids, is what you were told by your parents and teachers not adding up in the real world like it has been for the past 3 generations? Do you want to salvage? Hey, look, your youth is all gone. Do you want to salvage what remains in your life? Listen to me. I can't promise you the promised land, but I can tell you it's going to be better than boomer or now more Gen X millennial parent BS and the lies and propaganda teachers been spewing since the 70s. Teachers are so they're teachers. They have such a it's not like a genius marketing job. It's just we care about children. You hate the children if you're against us. No, we hate you because you're against the children. You're not for the children, you're for yourself. You're just like the parents. Like, hey, I got an idea. Isn't it ironic? Me, Mr. Asshole Consulting, is asking and seriously meaning, won't somebody please think of the children? It's not because I care. I'm like, I spend how much in property taxes? I can't get a kid to show up to serve me a McDonald's burger, right? We can't find anyone to do you need more proof the teachers like totally failed in the job past 2 generations? You can't find any tradesmen. Inflation's going up in part because we print off more money, but there's also a supply chain issue. We don't have enough skilled kids, younger people, to produce the stuff we want. Oh, but you got an abundance of do-gooder Marxists who could all lecture you about the evils of bigotry and racism and discrimination and the plight of women and the children's and the environment. Yes, my good sir. Education is irredeemable because it's not about education. And just pull your kid. I know. I tried to stop a housing crisis. I tried to stop a .com bubble. Tried to stop the education bubble. And I'm trying to help next generation. Like here, and it didn't work. No one listened to me because everyone likes the system the way it is. Parents like to not have to raise their children. The worthless, basically, they're mostly spinsters. What's a dude spinster? Male and female spinsters without family or love. They love to have like purpose and meaning without any real work. They have their false religion and their ideology, and everyone feels good. Oh, never mind that a gallon of milk is $5 or whatever it is now. Never mind that. Never mind gas went up above $4. Never mind like rent is $2,000 a month for a 1-bedroom. Never mind that. Everyone feels really good. So we're all going to stick with that. Won't be until it's like, where's the food? What do you mean farm? I don't know how to farm. All I know how to do is write a blog and pen a journal. I graduated from the Columbia School of Journalism. I don't know how to fish. I know how to clean a fish. I'm a vegan. Where's my vegetables? I have to do what to make money? There's the hard lesson coming for a lot of you. What do you mean you'll protect me if I do you a favor? Or else. That's where it is. Like, where'd the cops go? I don't see any hope for things to improve in public education. I may be overstating nothing but a job. Hence, chip on the shoulder. Even worse, they're indoctrinating cap for Marxist ideas and are poisoning kids' brains, all at taxpayer expense. We get the privilege of paying these unhappy, miserable people. If I had a magic wand, I would like to see vouchers, i.e. money, go to the kids and private schools. It wouldn't change it, man. It wouldn't change it. Private school teachers are the same. You need to educate your children at home. And I'm not talking about, shove them full of libertarianism and republicanism or capitalism. I'm talking reading, writing, and arithmetic. And given the amount of, look at how inefficient school is. First, there's the hour bus ride one way. Then the hour bus ride back. So that's 2 hours gone in your kid's day. They're not really going to school 8 hours a day anymore. They got recess and all that other stuff. A lot of their classes, at least half the classes they take, are to keep like English majors alive and employed. I always loved how we have English teachers in an English-speaking country, like pretty much past the 3rd or 4th grade. Do you think that by about, I'm not joking, let's say you wake up the kid at 7 a.m., get him breakfast, 8 a.m., you hit the books, noon, you're done. And you could have taught your kid way more than the public school system could when they had them for 12 hours. Is your children's future in life more important to you than missing out on 4 hours a day of work? And then you go work your part-time job. But my child isn't old enough to take care of myself. Is there a program the government pay? Never mind. You don't love your kid. I get it. I get it. Let's sing the American Parent theme song. Me, 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 me. I have a kid. I'd like to bid his life away at a carrot during the day. Me, 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 me. Ooh, look, a Rolls Royce, mommy want. Oh, not Range Rover. That's the other R. Mommy wants. Well, wouldn't that money would pay for food, clothes? You could teach the kid, I want to be happy. But the bloody teachers union who are run by the parasites and scum have so much political power, it just seems hopeless, and I'm concerned about the future of this day. Oh, you're getting concerned about the future of the day. Have you enjoyed the decline? That's like 10 years old now, I think. Do you agree it is irredeemable? Yes. If so, how can it be replaced? Educate your children at home. Teach your kids to be autodidactics. Look, let's say the teacher, let's remove the Marxism, okay? Let's remove the telling 8-year-olds that they may like different types of genders. Let's remove all that. From purely an economic standpoint, you can do in 4 years what it takes public education to do 12. If you just have someone stay home with the bleeping kid, right? I'm not saying like from the age of 5 to 9, they're going to come out with a master's degree, but okay, reading, writing, arithmetic. All right, we're going to do your math. Thomas Woods has a great home education program. Okay, maybe one kid's not that smart. You kind of push them towards the trades. Maybe one's an uber genius. You get them into computers and programming. Your car needs fixing. You all teach the kids how to change oil and all that. Teach them about safety. Wear your goggles, kid. And it is not that hard to beat the teachers because they don't intend on educating your children. So your kid at the age of 12, quite literally, like if you got a responsible 12-year-old, they can go babysit. That was back in the 12-year-old. Let's say 13 or 14, more modern. So you get a 14-year-old kid, right? Responsible, can babysit. You know what a reliable babysitter will get nowadays? $20 an hour. That's more than what a college-educated liberal arts graduate gets. I'm not joking. 14 years old, your kid could be better off than someone 24 years old, twice their age, 28 years old. It has nothing to do with whether they believe in Marxism or not. How would that be if we had just a generation of parents raise their kids at home, educate them at home, and then they send these kids out, and these kids are like 16 to 18 and taking all the jobs that 28 to 34-year-olds can't get because they're all still shoved up their own ass. I'm depressed. I'm oppressed. I need government. I need more money. Ah! I'm a teacher. I'm sure there are some decent teachers out there. I did the math. Out of the 89 teachers I had, 3 were worth a damn. The rest could swim to Japan with cinder blocks around their waists in Minecraft. Really, 3 out of 89. That's how bad teachers. That was 40 years ago. There are like very few good teachers out there. Yeah, but for your most part, you're the not the average. The vast majority of teachers are worthless, useless human beings. And I'm not saying that as trying to insult them. I'm describing them. They have no value. They do nothing but babysit. Oh, they'd argue, well, I'm teaching them about justice and fairness. Why do they graduate after 27 years of education and still not find a job? Oh, because you don't teach them anything. All right, so there you go. Me. And it really is the parents. Let's just conclude with this because it's not going to happen. Parents in America have not loved their children more than themselves for a long ass time. Okay. That has been very clear. You have a kid without a nuclear family, you don't love your children more than you. You get divorced with children, you don't love your children more than you. You don't sit and take the time down to explain reality, you don't love them more than you. You guys can't have the balls to stand up to your wife, lay down the law, explain it to the kids, you don't love the kids more than you, right? So, and then, in other words, the parents are absent. There's going to be a power vacuum. The government and the state with the teachers union is only more than happy to be the parents for you. They're like, oh my God, they're teaching this in the schools. Oh. Raise your kids and educate your kids, period. And I'm on my way out, like this country is no longer tenable. It isn't. You have, number one reason, parents don't love their kids more than themselves. They love their bleeping Range Rover and their college degree more than their own damn kids, right? And so until that changes, you should not have any faith or hope in the institutions. Because this doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, especially, who do you think the ones are in the Range Rover suburbs? That's Republicans disproportionately. Admittedly, I'll say the wives with their master's degree in studies, that's left. I got that. But y'all don't love your kids more than yourselves. So, and then your kids are going to, so until we decide we want to train a generation of children to function in the real world, this is going to change. And you're going to have these posers, these charlatans that call themselves educators when obviously they don't do their job because these kids come out completely uneducated. So I'm done. I don't care. Dude, is that vasectomy looking like the best decision in the life? Did I call it or what? Huh? How are all you people that got your kids like, you only have children? You going to raise them? No. You're going to send them to public school. Why are they teaching this? Look what our child brought home. Are you going to pull the kid out of school and teach him that? No, I have a career. Fine. Said, I'll see you kid at Asshole Consulting in about 10 to 15 years. Keep them coming. Thank you. How is Ivy the dog of much love and value? Ivy the dog, someone reminded me, I got she received fan mail. A young girl, dad was watching The Dog of No Real Value. And the young girl really liked The Dog of No Real Value. And so now the dad helped her compose a letter. But I don't want to film it here because there's not enough room for me and the dog. But I also have recording internet issues at the other one. But I'm probably going to have to do it over there. So hopefully it's a Linux operating system. So it doesn't, I get robot voice. The connection isn't that good. But the dog of much love and debatable value, she is fine. We will be taking her out to the Doge Park because it makes me happy to see her happy. It's like, you know what? For this little bit for X amount of calories, let's say it's 100 calories of energy to take to dog to park. I get seeing a creature anyway, so happy and excited. You don't get more happiness and excitement out of 100 calories of energy. Maybe my nieces when I visit. Maybe that. But chasing girls? No. Working? No. Studying for a degree? No. Watching Fox News? No. Even tuning in to Rollo Tomasi. Don't get that much higher, but man, you throw a ball, like, dang, I wish I could be as happy as that dog. DJ Aftershock, $5. Fun fact, a young ditz in my family has a master's in social work. Well, I can predict it, right? I mean, they're robots. They're NPCs. It's not like, oh, but then she turned the corner and made a difference for reals. Her father was just promoted to the CEO of a major hospital healthcare corporation. Oh, I wonder. It must be so nice to be Tina from the suburbs. It must be so nice to be wealthy. I want to be a suburbanite princess where I can do whatever I want. And daddy bails me out, but then I get to claim I'm a strong, independent woman. Why can't I have that? DJ Aftershock, $2. Don't become like my cousin above. Spoiled blacks exist. Oh, you black, DJ? I didn't know you were black. I had a picture of you being European for some reason. God, we got a black guy on the show. Jesus. Shh, don't tell anyone. Time traveler, $37.97, 50 generous dollars. And I think, are you new time traveler? Well, I don't want to say I've seen it before. Regardless, thank you very much for the $50. Vouchers for private schools, please, from the feds rather than property taxes. It's an improvement. I don't think it really doesn't. The problem isn't whether it's private or public. See, I had to go to private school because I go and burn in hell, according to my dad, if I didn't go to a Christian school. So we're already living off of a pastor's salary. Then we go to parochial school, which is more expensive. Don't worry, the Lord will provide. Aaron, why do you shop at Goodwill? You got a little bit of money. You can relax. This is 40 years ago. The teachers are Marxist, feminist, Kuwanta back then. All right. And the education I got switching then to public school wasn't all that much better. Now, admittedly, I did get into some of the advanced AP stuff like calculus, physics, things like that. That was my doing. But I could have, if I had myself come back in time, getting you out of school, kid, when I'm 5 years old, I would have been so far ahead. I would have had like an engineering degree probably by the age of 14 because it was doable. But going to a private school would not have made that much of a difference. You might get like a 15% boost. Get your kids at home, invest in them, train them, push them to their best, not their limits, to their best. Get them accredited, credentialed, working with their hands. By the age of at latest 16, you can have them making way more money than your average idiot graduating with a master's degree in social sciences or the liberal arts. Guarantee you. But it's not going to be, it won't be vouchers. Vouchers will not solve the problem. It is the quality and caliber of people we send out to be teachers. And they're all Marxist, leftist, inferior Kuwanta-ha-has. DJ Aftershock. Ironically, her mom retired at 50 as a... Oh, yeah, that early retirement, you teachers are so hard. It's so... Oh, you have it so hard. Oh, we had to buy crafts for our children. I don't know. How about you let them go outside and play? You're not teaching them anything anyway. Hello, kids. We're going to see if I was a teacher. I'm like, we're going to watch the spaghetti westerns. You need to know this. This is very important culture. Cinnamon. Someone asked which Linux. Cinnamon. I don't know which variant. Did I miss one? Oh, there it is. Time Traveler. $4.99 is to break the union stagnation. It could. It's an improvement. Yes, there'd be some secondary and tertiary benefits to that. Oh, wow. Also, now it loaded up. Hang on, I'm losing all this. YouTube, just program your stuff right, man. Okay. Yeah, it would help break up the union, but dude, if we board the ship with enough Marines, we could take it over, or we just torpedo it. How about that? We torpedo it and sink it. You all want to untie the Gordian knot. I give you the cutting of the Gordian knot. Why don't we just do that? Fanny Perry, 10 British pounds. For truth, you relentlessly share. For truth, you relentlessly share. Thank you, Fanny. I appreciate it. I presume it's the same over in the United Kingdom. That's Robert Donovan, 20 generous dollars. Tom Woods, Blake Bowles, Freedom Project Academy, Kind of Canby, Launch School, Hooked on Phonics, Math, the list goes on. In the olden days, we had this thing called the library. Scott Kaufman's books, don't forget CLEP classes. First 20 hours, no reason to send kid to government. Every reason not to. You're right, Rob. Now tell Fifi and Tanner in the suburbs to love their children more than their bleeping SUV. All right, that's it. Okay, well, thank you for all the generous donations, guys. There you guys go. You got questions, Gabby's got answers over at assholeconsulting.com. Also, if you are short on financial education, or you would, here would be a great thing, because I can't control, like if you have a family, take the class link below called Achieving Financial Excellence. Like, I know the subtitle is called The Most Direct Path Out of Poverty, or the most direct path to financial stability. Basically, just don't be poor. All right. Why don't you take that class, and your kids will understand it? Like, certainly if your kids are like 13, 14, 15, take it as a family. All right. And you'd be like, oh, and I'm not saying I'm going to be an expert on 401ks, IRAs, and have a fully funded retirement program with a second home in Panama. But if you watch that, you'd be like, oh, that's what finance is all about. Oh, well, screw all this other crap they keep telling me to do and waste billions of dollars of my life. I'm going to do this. So that's available on Teachable. Link is down below. Achieving Financial Excellence. And no, it's not the minimalism class. You could take that one later. So, all right. See you guys later. Toodles.